Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you the initial checkout of a really cool A&E 3-slot payphone, and this is Tony's telephone from California. Tony purchased this telephone from somebody in Montana, and so basically he had this telephone sent directly to us for conversion. And so what we want to do, Tony's got some things that he's talked about that he wants to do to this telephone. Now they had a body key, and we'll open that up, and this is the initial checkout. And he has no vault key, so we need to get him a vault key and re-key that key to this lock so that he can lock that part of it. Another issue Tony wanted taken care of is, this is a cool telephone because a lot of these will have the security cable on it, but this one has the black handset cord, and so that's pretty cool to see that once in a while, because this telephone probably was in service somewhere where they trusted people not to cut the handset cord. So anyway, it's just nice to see that once in a while. And it's an early model A&E because we have a open coin slot return. And there's a few issues with this telephone other than the key. The cord he wants shortened up. He's thinking from the pictures that he's seen of this telephone, because he's never seen this telephone in person yet, that the cord is too long and he wants that shortened up. And we're going to do that in a way that if he decides to go back to the original length, that he can do that. So we're actually not going to cut the cord. We're just going to shorten it on the outside appearance. Another issue is we're kind of a little off-centered here with this number 15 that's on the front of this center dial, and the dial itself sticks. So we want to kind of get that straightened out, and we don't want to force this back. What we want to do is just kind of help it out a little bit. You never want to force them back. So if it doesn't come back on its own, the most you might want to do is just try to tap it, and it'll sooner or later it will return on its own. But it's just not right, and it's going to have to be gone through. Another issue that they want to take care of on this telephone is it needs a bell installed in it and a switch. Tony wants a switch on the bell so that he can turn the bell off or on. It's also going to need a modular port, and we're going to move this telephone over a little bit, and we want to pull the body off and give you a look at the inside. Now, another thing that I noticed on this telephone is where the coin goes down the chute, it's bent up, so we want to get that straightened out, and we want to rewire this telephone and get a modular port in here so Tony can plug any kind of a line cord, any length, any color into it, and it'll be a nice, easy plug and play. The other thing I want to show you is the back of the telephone. We have our coin validator, and we do have our contacts here. So we're going to have to go through all that and make sure the money falls down into the vault area and get that squared away. So there's quite a bit of rewiring and things to do, but we'll get it squared away for Tony, and we'll get some video of the progress towards the repair and conversion of this telephone. Okay, we're back, and so we have been working on this telephone, and so we gained entrance into the vault area, and so what we found in here was some change. We got about 3/4, a dime, and a nickel. So Tony's getting rich already. The issue is somebody tried to break the lock at some point in time. So now what they have done here is there's where the key entrance is, the part that accepts the key, they have split open a little bit, and then they've got a small crack running down in that part that's where the key entry is. And so that's not good. Hopefully this lock is savable. We're going to have to take it apart and rekey a key to it. Problem is, if it's ruined, then we're going to have to replace this lock, and it's a 10L lock. And 10L locks will always say it up on top here, 10L by the deadbolt, and then they'll give a serial number. And so that lock has been damaged. Someone tried to gain access into the telephone, and they tried to break the lock. So that's not good. So we're going to have to just kind of get into that and find out what's going on. This gives a little bit of a look at the telephone now. We're starting to go through the telephone, and we want to install our bell. We want to get it straightened out, get the wiring straightened out. We've been through the rotary now, and that has been straightened out. So now the rotary is turning smooth, and we have went in and adjusted and oiled and cleaned the points. So now we don't have an issue there any longer. But this lock issue is going to be a problem. We're going to have to see how that goes. So we're just going to be working towards finishing up the conversion on this telephone. We also took some of the length from the cord, because Tony only wanted it to hang about 4 or 5 inches down below the telephone itself. He thought it looked a little strange that the handset cord was a little long, and so we did shorten that up. And he can always go back to the length if he wants later on. That's not a real issue. So we've configured it in a way he can reuse that length if he wants. So we're just going to be working towards that finished product, and we're going to take a short break now, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back now, and we're finished up with Tony's telephone. And so what we've done here is we're just going to show you the back of the telephone real quick and the modular port that we install. It makes for a simple, clean connection. All Tony has to do is walk up to it and plug into it, and it's done. And there's no tacky cords that hang out of the back of it if you're moving the telephone around. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and spin the telephone around. And we're going to run through some of the things that went on with this telephone. Number one, what we did was we found some change in this telephone. So that's always nice to have. Tony's getting rich here. Another thing that we found behind the informational card on the body was a daily time card. And so basically someone had stuck this behind the informational card, and it looks like it's pretty old. Who knows how it got there, but it ended up behind there, and it's kind of cool. It doesn't give an address of the company, but it's Mucker's Daily Time Card, and it has a place to put your name and everything and your hours. So that's pretty cool, and it looks pretty old, pretty vintage. So we're going to move that out of the way. Basically, we also found a 1947 nickel inside the telephone, and I was so interested at looking at the card that we found behind the informational card and the 47 nickel, because it's really cool to open these telephones up. It's kind of like opening up the past, and you look at that stuff. I almost forgot this telephone actually has a cash box in it, because when Tony bought this from someone in Montana, they shipped it directly to me, and so we went ahead and converted the telephone. And so now what we had to do, like earlier in the video, the vault key was missing, and they could not get into the vault. So now what we've done is we've taken a key for a 10L lock, and we keyed this key to this vault lock, which is a good thing, because if you had to get this lock and key, they get quite expensive now if you're even lucky enough to find a decent one. So now Tony's squared away on that. There was a little bit of tampering on the lock, but we were able to take the barrel there at the key entry and bend that back and get the lock working, and so everything seems to be fine now. So we're going to move that out of the way. We want to show you the vault. This is one of the original boxes that they used. They didn't look like this after later on with the 3-slot payphones. They started coming out with a top on them that couldn't be tampered with, and they would lock into place, and they would put a little tie. But this is the older style, and so is this telephone. It has an open coin return. So we want to put that all back together again. And lock that up. Now the other issue was there was a key for the body already in this telephone, and we're going to go ahead and open that. Now the rotary had to be gone through. We also straightened out his number 15 on his rotary, and the rotary no longer sticks. So we got that squared away. We went through this coin validator, which was pretty much already dropping money, so that was not a real big issue. But we also had to go through his points to line up with our finger connections here on the backboard. So we got that all squared away. We'll move that back into place and kind of show you a little bit of what took place on the inside of the telephone. We shortened the handset cord and got that to the length that Tony wanted, about 4 or 5 inches past the phone as it hangs. It was a little long before, but we pulled that into the inside of the telephone in case Tony ever wants to bring some more cord out. It should be a pretty simple process. We went through the hook switch. We also went through the network, and we went through all the connections and made all the connections and rewired everything. The other issue was we installed a bell, but we also installed a switch for Tony, so that switch can be turned off and on. We'll go ahead and ring the telephone. And I'll go ahead and switch the switch. And we'll catch a ring cycle come by, and I will switch it on. We'll do that one more time. I'll catch the next ring cycle and turn it back on. Now I want to stop the ring, and we can put our body back on. Now these are spring loaded, so you want to hold the telephone in a little bit when you lock it, because they have a spring in them, and it brings the body out if you don't hold them down and lock it. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and ring the telephone. We'll let that go one more time since that was one of the issues. Give you some dial tone. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and walk through our numbers. If you watch the analyzer, you'll see the numbers rack off. I'm going to end in a 2, and now I want to go ahead and transmit into the handset. So if you watch this red light here on the analyzer, every time I modulate, that's an indication of 100% transmit every time that light lights on the analyzer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hello, hello. So we know that this telephone rings. We know it dials out. We know we have receive and transmit, and we know our keys are working to our locks. Now what we want to do is move it over to a regular telephone line. We'll go ahead and give you some dial tone. And we want to call like a time and temp.
Good evening. 2 Ford stores, 1 great company, Offenburg Ford. A short drive to great value. Today is Monday, August 27th. The time is 10:31. Current temperature 83 degrees. Now the Belleville area weather forecast. Clear tonight and Tuesday, low tonight mid-60s. Tuesday's high around 90.
Okay, so we can call one other number. We'll call my number, and it'll be busy. Give you some dial tone. Okay, we had to take a short break there, but now what we can do is put the money that we found in this telephone back through it. So we'll go ahead and start out with a quarter, and that'll gong 1 time. A nickel will ring the bell once. A dime will ring it twice. We'll go back to another quarter. We'll go to a dime. We'll do another quarter and a nickel. So now that we know that this telephone is repaired, we can send this back to Tony, and it'll be the first time he's actually seen it in person when he gets it. It's a really nice A&E 3-slot payphone, and it's a vintage telephone. It's in very good condition, and I would assume that it was probably indoors or somewhere where they trusted the handset cord not to get cut, and they have a piece of glass here in the informational. And if it would have been outside, it probably would have been a plastic cover here instead of glass. So it's just a really cool telephone, a perfect example of a really nice A&E 3-slot payphone. This is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.